Thank you, Mikey, the poll assassin. Okay, new AP Top 25 released on Sunday. We've got still Ohio State holding in at number 1, Penn State at number 2, LSU at number 3. We saw the opportunity for Oregon to move up after absolutely thumping Oklahoma State. They did, jumping up to number 4 in the poll. You've obviously got some big time moves down. Michigan falls after the loss to Oklahoma, but Arizona State, Florida, and SMU all fall all the way out of the rankings entirely. Missouri gets in, Auburn gets in, and of course USF makes its appearance at number 18. Pretty close to where I think we had it for tomorrow's top 25 today. Thoughts either about the rankings consensus, individual ballots, what stood out from the new top 25?
11 SEC teams out of 16, and you can argue there should be a 12th. Because if South Carolina is 11th, you can argue why the hell isn't Vanderbilt ranked?
Totally agree.
I think Vanderbilt should absolutely be ranked. I mean, they went to Virginia Tech and killed them, whereas South Carolina needed a kickoff return to win that game for that. I don't really get like why Michigan and South Carolina are ranked based on what they've done so far this year.
Ooh,
personally,
yeah.
Like in comparison, Vandy's been better. I think like there are probably a number of Big Ten teams who look a little more impressive. Like why is USC has looked better than Michigan?
Yeah.
Like, if Oklahoma doesn't fumble that punt, Michigan's getting run off the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing here with that? Utah at 20 is kind of crazy. I don't think Ole Miss should be ranked at all. Like Kentucky was awful last year. Kentucky showed no signs of not being awful so far. That's just just name brand value here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but at 17 at this point in the year, if Ole Miss was in the South Carolina position, a little bit further up, I could take more of an issue with it. If Arkansas beats Ole Miss this weekend, they're out. So, they're at least in that. They're on the chopping block. 17's firmly a chopping block spot.
And if they beat Arkansas, then shoot, man, Chip, they're going to have 2 wins over non-bowl teams. You might want to think about putting them in top 10. This could be.
I still think the voters do it all wrong. I don't think they pay attention to what they're supposed to do. If South Florida had a Nittany Lion on the side of their helmet, or if they had a Florida State Seminole on the side of their helmet, if they had an Ohio State Buckeye on the side of their helmet, they would be top 5. I still don't think the pollsters give enough credit for what you actually see during the season and building up resumes and forgetting everything you thought you knew in the offseason. I don't think they're giving South Florida enough credit for what they've done. And I'm sure if you say, well, they can go to Miami and beat them, like then I think clearly they would make another significant jump. But like if they lose, then knock them back down. Like they're supposed to be really, really volatile if you're doing them right, where each week as you get more information, you should hop them around a lot. I still don't think South Florida is getting the respect they deserve.
Why is Texas Tech ranked and TCU and USC not?
Because Texas Tech spent a lot of money to get that ranking.
Yeah, a lot of off-season stories.
So it's Shahan Jayaraj's fault. That's why Texas Tech is ranked. Blame Shahan. He wrote that story, and now everybody likes Texas Tech.
There's a Sprouts in Lubbock? A Sprouts?
All right, why is Texas Tech ranked and not Nebraska? I don't even think Nebraska's great, but Nebraska ragdolled a bad MAC team over the weekend, and they also have a much better win over like at least a competent athletic Cincinnati team than anything Tech has. I'm not trying to pick on Texas Tech here. I just am not really sure logically how some of these make sense.
Well, all right. So
if we're basing it based on like what they've shown on the field this year a little bit.
Your TCU argument is better. TCU is only 1-0, but they've got a road win against a power conference team. Texas Tech is one of several teams that is 2-0 with 0 power conference wins.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just a win. They blew them out. They embarrassed North Carolina. And I think Ryan puts in there. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know what Ryan's trying to say. TCU was 9-4 last year. We're not even supposed to consider last year. You're supposed to forget about everything you know, especially in today's game with so much turnover on rosters. Like they should be out the window.
In a year with great uncertainty, this still looks really bad from the AP. And I'm usually not like, the AP, like bang on the AP poll guy, or at least I try not to be. But like keep it in the state of Texas. You've had 2 pretty crappy teams move the ball on A&M so far.
Do not disrespect Broncos big bad boys in front of me, I will.
You can do it behind our
do
back,
it behind my back,
not in front of us.
Yeah, come on.
Like the teams that have the real gripes to me, USC and TCU.
Yeah,
should be ranked.
But an argument for USC would be they still haven't played a power conference team.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Well, we got it. Yes. Tom.
I have a fun little thing about a team that didn't finish in the rankings this week.
All right.
I'm gonna read off a list of AP voters, and I want you guys to try to tell me what they have in common this week. Henry Greenstein, Craig Stevenson, Jordan McPherson, Josh Furlong, Chad Bishop, Pete Yanity, Brian Howell, Mike Hill, and Steven Johnson. What do those gentlemen all have in common?
They are men.
They had Florida over USF?
No.
No, there was only one.
Good guess, though.
And that was a she.
Yeah. No, these fine gentlemen all have SMU remaining on their ballots this week. But not only do they have them ahead of Baylor, they don't have Baylor ranked at all.
Come on.
Wow.
So if SMU is still ranked even after a loss to Baylor, but you took Baylor out of your poll because it lost to Auburn, I need to know what you're doing besides just moving teams down as you scroll through the box scores on whatever website you so choose. Now, I assume some of you listen to this show. I'm guessing most of you don't, because you don't really seem to show any interest in college football as much as you just like being able to say that you have a ballot on the poll. But I would really appreciate it if all of you could let us know why SMU remained on your ballot despite losing to a team that you don't believe deserves to be on your ballot. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I figured it out. Like SMU, they didn't finish the game. They must have just changed channels when SMU had a
Thought they won.
Yeah, had a 2-touchdown lead with 8 and change left. And they were like, oh, yeah, SMU's got this. No chance they give up 2 explosive plays and then cork it double OT as well. So they must have just moved on to another game and just, like SMU, didn't finish the job.
Well, maybe they had to move on to the NFL rankings where they have Baltimore as first place in the AFC.
Maybe that explains why Vanderbilt isn't ranked. Maybe a lot of them just 2010 halftime score. They thought, Vanderbilt's old Vanderbilt laying an egg, and then stick around for the 34-0 beatdown in the second half.
Listen, I'm not saying that polls shouldn't exist. I think polls are fun. I think they generate discussion, and I think they give us all something to talk about. But I think a lot of the people voting in these polls do not actually watch college football. They just watch a game or two every week. Then they fill out their ballot at the end of the night, and then they go look at whatever the ballot was last week, whatever the rest of the voters all thought, and just go from there.
Well, that's why we have Poll Assassin.
Yeah, that's why we don't need to get rid of polls.
We need
to revolutionize who we use to compile them.
No, I believe
just
that
us four.
Change. I believe that they can change. If you can change and I can change, then we all can change, as Ivan Drago famously said. So I think that we're just holding a higher standard. So if you just had your name called out, that's okay. Come on back next week. Bring a new look on the pollsters.
The standard is please watch the games. Like that's all we're asking them to do.
What they try to do is they try to get voters from all across the country to have a sample representation of everywhere. I think one of the biggest problems that they have is they go to beat writers. And if you're a beat writer, you can't spend your Saturday watching every single game. You have to watch the team you cover. And then after that game, you have to go do the press conferences. You have to do interviews. You have to do all that. Then you have to go sit and you have to write your stories. You don't have time to watch everything. So I think that they need to reevaluate who they have doing these polls.
That's the reason I don't go to many games, because the Saturday show suffers. Right? We can pull it off if one of us is at a game. But you really got to have 2 guys at home or in the office with a bunch of screens if you want to do. Which, by the way, thank you all for getting us number 6 in the country in the sports podcast. It's like NFL, pro wrestling, fantasy football. Look, gotta rep the college game here for us. But yeah, like if you're on a beat, man, you're there like at least 90 minutes before kickoff. You're probably down in the field talking to some guys you haven't seen. Like you're gathering info. You're watching warm-ups. You're seeing who dressed, who didn't dress. Like you're probably running social as well for whatever newspaper or whatever beat you work for. if you're someone who does recruiting, like you're probably outside of the stadium for like hours in advance, seeing who shows up, taking photos for that, doing that kind of deal. And then, you're not getting out of the facility for a 7:00 game until like they're gonna kick you out of the press box like 11:30, 12, but like you may not even be done by that time. So it's difficult.
Hey, listen, we're trying to hold a high standard. We can't get bogged down in complaining about the poll.
All right.
But
Tom, how many names? Just 6, 7 names you just rattled off? Like if there's a one-off, I mean, you listed a lot of names that did not like. That's pretty egregious.
That is.
Like there was the one girl who was going viral because she had Florida ranked and South Florida unranked. I'll give one pass. Like maybe she didn't watch, maybe she missed it. I was a voter at ESPN. Like sometimes you just forget, like you just blank out on one and you saw it. You just, whenever you submit it, you were in a hurry. But to have that many names, that's pretty, it shows you how dumb this poll is. Mm-hmm. And to some people saying, nope, AP doesn't matter. I do think it matters because it does create perception as the season goes along when they're going to hear a whole lot about 11 SEC teams ranked. You will hear that throughout the entire season when they're making the push for the playoffs and they're trying to pump in 6 or 7 teams in the playoff.
Yeah, for the first half of the season, those numbers next to the teams that they use to convince you to watch the games on television, those are the AP rankings. They have a huge influence because for casual fans or anybody, they see that 12 next to a team. They assume that team must be really good.